Good evening and welcome back to episode 18 of the Hooked On NRL Supercoach podcast. I'm your host, Sol, and I'm joined by my co-host, Fish. How are you, Fish?
Good, thanks, mate. We had Origin, unfortunately. Maroons, that was just, well, before we get into the episode, do we just quickly talk about Origin? The
Yeah, let's
Maroons,
touch on that, mate.
just no good, hey. Blues, I think, definitely deserved that win. Their defense was remarkable that second half, but I really think Queensland didn't throw much at them. And subsequently, I think round the second game of Origin, I think Billy will have some mass changes coming in.
Yeah, I agree, mate, but I also think I just don't know what changes are going to change, like, the result. New South Wales just looked well and truly ahead in terms of quality and in terms of just how they looked as a team. I don't know who you could bring in that's going to bridge the gap, and I honestly think that watching that game, New South Wales could have easily won by a lot more. So be interesting to see what Billy does, especially with a lot of. I don't think you can blame Cherry Evans, which is that's. He's been so good for Queensland as a captain, such a good leader over the years, and I don't think he's past it. Honestly, where the game was lost was in the middle. The New South Wales forwards were just rolling through so easily, and that when that happens, as a half or as a back, it's so hard to play on the back foot, which is what the Queensland spine was doing all game, and yeah, it was just interesting. Unlike an Origin game that we've sort of seen before, where usually it's a really tight contest, this one wasn't, and yeah, it was just a bit of a different vibe. But hopefully we see a bit of a closer result in game 2.
That's the man. I think a good point there with DC. I know in Origin, I think he only had like 200 and something kick meters, but we saw on the weekend really him, Cleary, and and Moses all have excellent kicking games. Like I thought that kicking game from Daly Cherry Evans on the weekend, I think he kicked like 800 meters. The Seagulls pumped the Broncos, and I think he really bounced back. So yeah, I do think it's obviously his spot on the side. I do think they got to somehow find a way to fit Dearden in, and possibly that's at 9. We see Harry Grant. He really didn't look good at all that first game, and he didn't back up as well. So maybe we watch and see how Harry goes this weekend, but he hasn't been good at all this year. And I really think a bit of spark through the middle, maybe Tommy Dearden could be a go.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the Harry Grant take, as in, I still think he's the best hooker in the game by a comfortable margin, but he's definitely having a bit of a down year, hasn't done much. And in Origin, he's much better coming off the bench and having an impact. When he's playing in the middle and starts the game in the middle, the big forwards were just targeting him and he was getting smashed up. And then on attack, he was making some silly decisions, such as putting that kick in for Coates, which went to the in goal, going for himself on 5th and last. Yeah, he just didn't have his best game. Honestly, the change I would make to fit Dearden in, and it's something that I said pre-Origin as well, is that Ponga, in my opinion, Munster should be the fullback. As a New South Wales supporter, like, I'm definitely most scared of Munster in Origin from Queensland side. He's definitely the person that poses the most threat, and I think your most threatening player should be getting their hands on the ball the most. And what better position to do that than at fullback, where he can just slot him wherever he wants, and then I'll put Dearden in the 6. So I think that's a shout. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see which way Billy goes, and then obviously with forward changes as well. Guys like Fodawaker having 4 runs, for example, and Liero not offering anything really, and then you haven't selected someone like Corey Horsburgh, which I was shocked by, and you were shocked by in game 1 itself. I think Horsburgh definitely has a big case to be made to play in game 2. I'm not really sure what other sort of changes they could make though. Maybe Cotter needs to play in the middle as well. He's not really an edge player. You could put him into the middle rotation and then put someone on the edge, such as a Fermor, give him a go. Maybe a bit of experience. I think Capewell's past it, but be interesting to see how they go. If Fafita was back and firing, then he would be an option, but obviously
Hasn't been back and firing for years.
Yeah, hasn't been seen for a while, but he's who should be there, based on pedigree and talent. But yeah, he's fallen off the cliff a bit. And yeah, that's enough of the Origin talk from my side, mate. Unless you want to add anything more.
Yeah, that's good. The only other thing quickly then I know I like the Munsters here, but I also think Hammer would probably be the best at fullback for the Maroons. Ponga really did have an average game and he didn't back up. Bit of a cat. Obviously, bit of insight for listeners. He's ruined my season a little bit. And we're now stuck with another bloke who now has ruined the season a little bit, Tommy Turbo, who, spoiler alert, hasn't been named again. So what an absolute great trade in Ponga to Turbo has been. Love Supercoach. That's why we play. Let's get stuck into the YouTube comments from last week. So only one comment from last week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Only one comment from last week. We got SMK. He was 200th overall at the moment. Cheers, boys. So last week, SMK was 200th. So good on you, mate. You're having a cracker season. Well done. Hopefully you've gone good last week. So awesome, we'll actually check
good to see you at the top.
Top 200. We either think he's Liam or Shane. One of the two. We'll see how you went this week. To the week that was. So how did we go in the league, mate? How did we go? Well, they both had good weeks. Or no, red arrows for both of them. With a 1202 and a 1268. I believe you outscored that, mate, with yourself, and you're moving up again. Up to the leaderboards into seventh now for the league, mate. Good stuff. How'd you sort of go? A 13-10. Looks like a bit of a massive green arrow there.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Obviously staying in the top 1K is good. And keep just seeing green. I've only had one round of red arrows this whole season. So from 60K into top 700, pretty stoked with that. As far as the side went, honestly, a bit underwhelming for what I thought they could produce. A lot of people had players on the bye, and I only had two people on the bye in Burden and Hines this week. Players like Sharp was underwhelming, especially playing fullback. And then you had like Eli Katoa against the Titans, who I thought could have done a bit better. And then Hosking was very poor, same as Payne Haas. A lot of people sold Payne Haas, and both of us are in the camp of, we held him and he got 59. He honestly scraped to get there too. But yeah, overall, pretty good week. I'll take the week. Not much could have gone much better in terms of sits v starts. I was tossing up playing Billy Smith or Toya in the last game, and then obviously Toya gets a try in the last 3 minutes or so of the game, and he ended up on 67, and Billy Smith got 45, so it costed me 22 points, but I'm not going to have a sook over that. It's easily made up. Other than that, Captain Cleary, which is a bit of a pod captain last week. A lot of people, pretty much 50%, over 50% of the top 1% captain May, and I wanted to take a bit of a stab this week for I guess I thought Penrith were going to come out and blitz the Eels, basically, and they didn't put many points on, but Cleary just got 87 without a TA or a try, so he just really accumulates points, and he missed the field goal from right in front in the end, so it could have been a lot more. But, yeah, quite happy with that, and then hopefully, can continue the momentum into next week and see more green.
That's it, mate. Yeah, good week. Obviously, I couldn't believe that Toya try in the last minutes there. Just for some more insight in the head-to-head. I was looking all right, and then Toya crosses at the end there, and I end up losing the head-to-head by 20 or 30 points. So if he didn't cross, I probably would have won the head-to-head. So that was annoying, but obviously in that game, I had my own sort of superstar in Tamale. Now, just how good is this kid? I believe he's I think he's the highest tackle breaker or the second highest tackle breaker in the league this season. It's him and Tedesco 1 and 2. And for a kid on debut who debuted this year in Vegas, I think he's been absolutely exceptional and is my shout probably for Rookie of the Year this year. But taking my glaze away from Tamale, I'm actually honestly pretty happy with the week. So I obviously ran out with about 14 men last week. We had so many players on the bye. So to finish up with a 1247 with all my outs, I am very stoked with that. I think it was a slight red arrow, so nothing new there. But last week, the real key performers were, I traded in Kolomatangi and Lehigh Hopewade. Both of them turned up, and both of them were great trade-ins. I was keen on them both. I kind of mentioned last week there's a reason I brought in Hosking. It was to be able to afford the perfect trades, and I kind of did the perfect trades. I got $600 left in the bank, and yeah, both of them turned up. Both of them look good. Obviously, no Travojevic this week means Lehigh's playing fullback again, and against the Knights, I think he's a really good vice captain option. Not to jump forward too early, but he's going to be my vice captain this week. I think he looks great. We saw on the weekend. There's something about this kid at only 20 years old. Footy just seems to happen around him. So big ups to him there. But yeah, apart from that, pretty solid week, and hopefully this week we bring back the troops, bring back the cavalry, and we start our bit of our push now. So yeah, keen to get stuck in sort of the TLT for the week, mate.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Just one thing. The Captain May, just got to bring this up. A couple of weeks ago, you rinsed me a little bit for saying it was a safe play and you're not a boring sort of super coach player. And then, this week it's, funny how quickly it all changes. And, I guess I'll welcome you to the boring club of May captainers and captaining a front rower, mate. So, welcome aboard, and we'll maybe see you there again next week.
Lad, we captained May first round of the year, round 1. We both captained it. Honestly, we should have just capped with. If I had stuck with May captain the whole year, I'd be so much further in front with all my captain blunderances recently. So yeah, last week with only 15, 16 men, I had to play it safe. I threw the vice captain on Pappy, would have easily been able to loot, but 63 just wasn't enough for me, and I knew Terrell May would easily lock in something. Drinky was probably the option I was most likely to go, and Trell outscored him, so happy with that. So yeah, just happy with the week, mate, and happy to get stuck into just how good Matangi is. I know you traded him in as well.
Yeah.
How good is he?
Yeah.
Well, big on him.
Unreal, mate. Yeah, massive on him. He's when he plays in the middle, he's just phenomenal. Played the whole 80 minutes as well. I guess for us, there's a bit of talk now about, because he's playing so well, him playing Origin, especially with Barnett injured. I don't think they'll go that way. And then the early reports came out that Stefano, who was obviously in the extended squad for game 1, was leading to sort of take that Barnett role in game 2 or take his spot. So hopefully, as an owner of Matangi, we do see that. Honestly, we all can see that Matangi is a better player than Stefano. same as Terrell May. But, that's just not the way the New South Wales selectors want to go. So we'll take it from a Supercoach standpoint. And, I guess on the two guys that you touched on, Tamale, who I sold, he's been unreal. I've got a little bit of a grudge against this guy, though, because of what he did, all the carry-on after the game against the Warriors. I hope next time we play him, someone puts one on his chin.
Is that because you sold?
Yeah. Bloody hell, I can't. Yeah, like that shit just ain't fly. I hope Fisher Harris or Barnett or Aaron Clark or someone just flattens him out. But
it won't be Barnett because gone for the year, unfortunately, for the Wires. I think he's going to be a big loss, actually. But I think that deviates us well into TLT. But yeah, Barnett, that's an unfortunate loss. And obviously at 31 years old, getting an ACL injury, it's obviously a season-ending injury. And at that sort of age, I think he's in really good form. So I'm not at all saying like thoughts of retirement or anything, but just very unfortunate timing for the man and for the Wires. It's such a big loss for the team.
Yeah, it is, especially with how well we're doing this year. It's big loss in the middle, especially with his leadership. He's the captain of the club. Hopefully we can keep up the good form. And then the other one is obviously Lehigh, who I'm big on. Got him in 2 weeks ago. He's just a phenomenal player. Got him in draft as well. I love this guy. He just as you said, he's got things when he gets the ball in his hands, things just seem to happen around them. And he's looking to be an awesome buy. He's made me over 130, 140k. Plays all the major buys. Got another game at fullback this week. So wheels up. We'll touch on it later. We'll touch on it now. If you were looking, would you be looking at buying him this week if you didn't have him?
No, well, bit of a spoiler alert then as well. We see Karaz named round already back. That's done the head in personally. He is a gun. I want him back. I can't quite make it work this week with the funds, but Yeah, look, he's someone really on my radar. Obviously, I think he's at 780K, but Bulldogs, I think, play 15 and 18, so they got a really good bye schedule, and he's just an absolute gun at center wing. So it'd be good to have some doggies ownership, and I think at this rate for 100K more, I would go Karaz over Lehigh, but I think Lehigh is a great option this week for sure at fullback, but just over the season, I think Karaz just will score more.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Like I don't think I'd be getting Lehigh now. I think I'd be going for myself if I didn't have Lehigh. I obviously don't have. Well, I've got Lehigh, but if I didn't have him, and then I would be prioritizing guys like who you've got, such as Farmworth and Ero, and then same goes for Kraz and Lomax as well. Fits that mold too. Those four guys for me, I would get over Lehigh this week. But yeah, we'll move on to TLT.
Yeah, like that, mate. So moving on to TLT this week for the Thursday game. So this week we got two games on Saturday and a game on Monday because it's the King's birthday holiday in New South Wales. So a bit of Monday footy, Monday 4 p.m. So hope everyone's got the kale up on their phones at work this Monday, getting stuck into the doggies versus the eels. So it should be a cracker there. But yeah, for the Thursday night game this week, we got the Knights and the Seagulls, mate. Anything you want to touch on from the Knights first?
Not too much. I think Matt Croker is a decent pickup in draft leagues. Other than that, Cogger gets to start at 7. This guy will be the death of me watching the Knights play. He, same as what I said about Townsend early in the year, and then thankfully he got dropped and the Roosters have been much better for it. Cogger just needs to be dropped. He sucks. Honestly, like he's so bad. Doesn't throw anything but a short ball. Offers nothing in attack. I'd much prefer playing Gamble over him, but Adam O'Brien obviously doesn't. And well, to be frank, his job's on the line. So because of it, and yeah, hopefully we see a bit of a bounce back from the Knights as a Fletcher Sharp and Lucas owner, but you never know. It's good to see Ponga back in the one. Maybe he can sort of spark something there, but he had a bit of an underwhelming season as we've already touched on. And then I guess the only other thing to note is Greg Margio on the extended bench. It'd be interesting to see if he comes in. Our good mate Matt has held him this whole time, so hopefully he doesn't come in.
Yeah, I think he's been a absolute horror hold for owners, and they would have been much better off holding a bloke like Karaz, who is just an out and out gun and back already. So you messed up there, Matty boy. Do better, lad. For the Knights, do you see Jacko Hastings in the number 18? I think that's a watch, especially with Cogger being a bit crap. So interesting to see what AOB does there. I agree. I really do think. Yeah, I think if they get the spoon, his job's on the line, but he got Dill Brown for next year. So I don't know if they'll give him to next year or they get a new coach. But yeah, the Knights just look shocking. I think Sharp looked shocking as well last week. I think the whole team looked shocking. Like even like Kai Pierce Paul was the best on ground, and he's kind of been like I've shouted him out a couple times. I like him. Like as a bit of a pod option, he has that upside to just ton. And we saw on the weekend, I think he scored 90 points or something like that. So yeah, but apart from that, not much really going on from the Knights. And apart from there's no one I'd want to be buying this week from the Knights for me.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Like they obviously they play next week, but which is good, the major buy, and then they also cover the mini buy after that. But then they start to pour into like that a bit of a rougher buy schedule, I guess. I wouldn't be buying Sharp as an owner, but I disagree. Like I think he was like one of the best last week, if not the best player for the Knights. He just got, like he was trying his heart out. Looking looking for involvement. He's basically like a Ryan Pappenhausen sort of mold fullback, but he just when you got someone like Cogran giving you the ball or doesn't know what he's doing, and their attack is just so one off, it's really hard for him to get any attacking stats. So hopefully Ponga can spark things up and him and Sharp can sort of run them up because that's what they rely on is those two and Dylan Lucas to create something out of nothing because they've got no other game plan or no other structure it seems.
Yeah, and then a big watch on Ponga, see if he bounces back, especially talks now. We see Walshy back as well, bit of a spoiler, but yeah, I do think it'll still be Ponga's job, but I do like the hammer fullback or someone else a fullback for Origin. But yeah, he needs a bounce back big time. But for the
Mm.
Seagulls, bit more interest here, bit more going on. So obviously Turbo buyers who brought in round 12, especially blokes like me who went from Ponga to Turbo. I didn't think I could be disappointed anymore from Ponga, but I am. I've been let down even worse from Turbo. Mate, absolutely shocking. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. It'll probably be a reassess next week job. If he's named, am I going Teddy? I just don't know. We kind of see Teddy on the weekend, only score about 91. So Tamale's outdoing him. So
Only.
no real rush on Teddy with, I think, I just want Turbo, but he's just done my head in. So yeah, Olakau'atu, I think's bottomed out in price. I think he's 600k now and 70 BE. So good buy. Well, actually, I don't even know if I would buy him honestly, but good option there, especially if he doesn't make Origin, which I don't personally see with the sort of cog of second row forwards for the Blues. But yeah, apart from the Seagulls, that's all that interests me, mate.
Yeah, I've got nothing really more to add. It would be really nice if Garrick could sort of step up his form. He's been so mid for a while now, be over a month. So hopefully we can see a bit of a bounce back this week, especially if he's running at that left edge of the Knights with Fletcher Hunt and Con. I think perhaps there is opportunity. Leo Hopoate, hopefully he keeps up the good form for both of us as an owner. We touched on if we would buy him or not. I think we'll be prioritising other guys now at the price he is. Olakau'atu, I obviously own him, and it was great to see a bounce back from him last week, getting 2 tries, and he looked good. And hopefully, the stats are that with Turbo out and with Cherry Evans in, he scores a lot better because a lot more ball goes to the right side. So hopefully that's what we see again this week. And I I think he's a great price if you wanted to pick him up. So I agree with you there. Like I don't think he's getting any lower than that, and he should play next week. But there is a bit of risk there. Only other thing to touch on is Jazz Tabanga, who's been relegated to the bench and has been so good since Jake's been out. Um, but now he's not. Lockie Croker's back as well, so he's not even playing hooker. So yeah, bit rough if
Oh,
you bought Jazz last week, but yeah, he's been good. So if you bought him a couple of weeks ago, you can't complain.
I wonder, Jake Turbo, he just go straight back in for the Blues
Yeah, that's
for
actually a good
Barnett?
shout.
Yeah, I've just thought of that then. I think that's probably what they'll do. They were so big on him before he got injured. I think he was going to
Yeah.
be named ahead of May. So that might be the option the Blues ended up going down. But in this game, I have the Seagulls by 18. I like the Knights
Jeez.
need to show up, but like they're just not. And I think the Seagulls just a better team, and I think they just win. So yeah, Eagles by 18.
I agree with you, mate. But I'm actually gonna tip the Knights, I think, in this one for a big bounce back this week. I'm I'm gonna tip them by 4, I think, in this one at a close game. Hopefully high scoring because got just under a third of my side playing in this one. So hopefully it's a high scoring game, but I'm gonna back the Knights in for a bounce back.
Like it, mate. Like it. You need to do something to chase me now in the tipping.
That's it, mate. One
For
behind.
yeah, for the Friday night game, we got the Storm versus the Cowboys. Not too much going on for the Storm. We see Coates and Grant coming back in. I was thinking the other day about the hooker position. I don't even know if I want to buy Harry Grant. Like Sandon
Mm,
Smith is just doing a job this year, and I very
yeah.
well think he's going to be a hold for the year. And it's just that second spot. What do you want to do? And like for myself holding a Brayley and yourself holding a Riley Smith, I just don't really see the Warren and trading at this point in time anyway. We might reassess after the buys and everything if we got any trades left. But
That's it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think it comes down to how many trades you have. I still think Harry Grant will pick his form up after Origin, but it'll be good to see something from him first. But yeah, Sandon's doing a great job, and so is Riley and Brayley. They're solid enough, but yeah, bit of a boring deposition. From this game, I've got really nothing to touch on. The Storm are the Storm. I wouldn't really be looking at buying any of the players this week, because Yeah, well, apparently it's forecasted to rain in Melbourne as well. So someone like Hughes and etc., who a lot of people jumped on, maybe have another down week. But I think he should start picking up his form. Anyway, yeah, I wouldn't really be looking at buying any Storm players just because of the lack of cover next week. And as far as the Cowboys go, it's pretty much the same boat. I don't want to buy anyone that's playing against the Storm and against in Amy Park. And in terms of Supercoach relevance, I don't really have anyone now at this point at their price points that I'm interested in, apart from Drinkwater, who we both own. Labour is the only sort of one that I would touch on, who is due a price rise this week. But against the Storm, I just couldn't do it. Wouldn't want to play him. Um, just that's pretty much sort of my take on this game. Not really anything there, and I've got Storm by I'm going to say by 16.
There you go. Well, interesting fact there with the rain. The Storm actually suck in the rain. So if it is raining, I think the Cowboys might actually get up in this. But for the Storm, as you mentioned, no, I don't like buying any of them this week. Round 16, I think Eli Katoa is bottoming out pretty nice in price. I think he's about 650, 640K now. So definitely a big watch. Someone I'm looking to get on round 16. But that's it for the Storm. And then, yeah, for the Cowboys, I just second the Labour sentiment. But I agree, I wouldn't want to be playing him. But I think he's a better option compared to a Billy Smith. I would much prefer a Zachy
Yeah,
Labour compared to a Billy Smith. But just with the trades, not really someone I can go sideways to. But I do like him as an option. But yeah, in this, if it is raining, I do like the Cowboys tip. But we're going in now on the TLT alone. I'm going to tip the Storm. But yeah, interesting watch there with the rain.
yeah, that's it, mate. One last thing before we move on is just Cam Munster. We're both owners of him, and like Origin Game 2 is in Perth, and then I don't know. We saw Harry Grant and Trent Liero get was it Trent? No, David Coates get rested, and Munster and Trent Liero play. So maybe after Game 2 they sort of switch that and Munster rest. It's something to keep an eye on at his price tag, especially with Jaden Campbell playing the major buy round, and he also will cover the mini buy round. So if Munster misses 2 games, that could hurt depending on who you have in your second 5-8 spot. I know you got a bit of a trap in there, and Lucan King Tongia. Never. Yeah, I wouldn't be keen on playing him any week. That guy's not good. But
Played him last week for 43. Bang that.
yeah,
Outscored Munster. Outscored Munster. LKT, baby. You.
yeah, you hold him, lad. That seems to be working out well.
It is. I'll be holding him, but that should cover it for this game. You happy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
happy.
Moving on to our second game of Friday night, and this just reeks points to me for some reason. We got the Dolphins and the Dragons, mate. What are you thinking here?
A bit more to touch on in this game. Not so much from the Dolphins side. I think I say it every week. I don't have Herbie, but Herbie's a good buy every single week. Other than that, Osako is a little bit of a pod buy. I don't mind as well. And it's just interesting to note Jeremy Marshall King and Max Plath on the reserves as well to see if they come in, because they could be. We were talking about the hooker position before. They could be decent options at hooker, especially more so Plath, depending with Gilbert injured. If Plath plays 13 and plays big minutes there, we've seen it before. He's awesome. He's got a huge break even, so he's someone to keep an eye on. For the Dragons, Toi Piloto is a big one. I think he's a great buy even this week. First week back if you want to risk it. Plays the next 2 major buy rounds, but to note he does miss round 16. So if you're someone like myself and yourself as well, who has both Lehigh and Garrick in your side, in your centre wing, and then you bring in Tui Pelotu, you're going to be without 3 key centre wings that week. So just have a look at your team and see how that suits. And then the only other sort of one to touch on, or 2, is Toby Couchman starting to bottom out. Really don't mind him at all as a buy. Looks like he'll probably play 80 on the edge and then some in the middle and sort of that Dylan Egan role. And he's a great player. So covers the 2 major buy rounds, as we said. And then Pacifici Tonga, I don't think it's worth spending a trade on him, but like I've got Royce Hunt. It's been tempting to, but like if I had the trades, I probably would. for the buy cover, and Royce Hunt just sucks. But I don't think I can burn a trade on something as meaningless as that. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on this game, mate.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see. I know Plath will probably be wanting to play it for the Maroons, so I wonder if he comes into the squad. I don't think it'll be for game 2, probably game 3, but yeah, bit of a watch there. I think JMK's reportedly way closer to playing than Plath, so just keep a watch for that. But yeah, Nathan Lawson, the one to touch on for the Dragons, we see he's
I forgot
been
who.
named over Sloan. So Sloan's been dropped, which for me, I'm very happy with. Sloan just does my head in. Not a fan at all of the man, like shit player. But Nathan Lawson actually looked good last week, and he's been rewarded with a jersey again. So obviously, you've mentioned the Dragons got the good buy cover, so he could sort of be the dream cheapie that everyone's after, and he looks good. So yeah, he's someone that's a very big watch. You don't need to go this week. You can get him next week. It's actually safer to get him next week, but for whatever reason, if you need to free up cash, or if you want to flick up someone like for me, for instance, who wants to flick Lucas up to the second row, you can get him this week, but then you run the risk of does he not play. But for someone taking a punt like on LKT and it's turning out really good so far, I'm not opposed to jumping on straight away, just like I did with LKT, my boy. But yeah, apart from that, I think you've covered everything else. I think this would be a great game. I have the Dolphins by 4 in this, but I think it'll be like 28-24 or something.
It's at Suncorp, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna tip the Dragons in this. I think. I'm gonna go Dragons by 6. Yeah, I'm gonna go Dragons by 6 in this. Yeah, the Nathan Lawson chat. I think that can wait a week. Especially when we all got 3 trades next week. I think he's a better option to have a look at next week, and when he's not gonna rise in price. But yeah, that's all for me, mate. If you've got the Dragons in this one, in a narrow game, I reckon.
Like it, mate. Like it. Moving on to our first game of Saturday, we got the Sharks and the Wars. Bit more going on for the Sharks. We see Coquelin.
See you in
Coquelin is
Oh,
oh yeah, well, Qatar. But the one I'm sort of interested in going off the back of the cheapy talks is Coquelin. Now, what do you think of him, mate? Do you know much about him?
I've seen him he's been in and out of first grade for a few years. I've different to you. I've got like no interest in him. I think I'd rather honestly go like Pasifiki Tonga from the Dragons. To be fair, but yeah, with Hazelton out, he could be a decent option.
Yeah, I think we've got Hazelton out for 3 months, so I think AFB, I think he's a great buy anyway, but I think the buy for him gets even better now. Should see bigger minutes because they've lost their middle forwards, and Oregon Kafusi doesn't have that big of an engine. So yeah, I think it'll be good things for AFB potential owners or potential buyers themselves. And Kale Ero just keeps getting it done every week. Him to score again this week, who says no?
I do, as a non-owner and as a Wires fan. I hope who will it be? It'll be Capo. Yeah,
Yeah,
Capo up on him. So
because I
he's
love
been
that
quite good in the
matchup.
centers defensively, honestly.
Love
No,
that
he's
matchup.
yeah, yeah.
Woohoo!
Let's see, mate. Yeah, I've got nothing to touch on really for the Sharks. If you don't have Hines, he's a good buy. Obviously Mulatalo's out suspended. Yeah, the only one really that I'm looking at personally from my side would be Finola Blake, but I don't know about the minutes, and I don't know if that's where I sort of want to lean my side with the reserves, my final 17. But yeah, I think he's a good buy. Nothing more. We can move on to the wires if you're happy to.
Yeah,
We've probably
and
got less
then
to talk about.
yeah, definitely. So less to talk about. Obviously, we've already spoken about Mitch Barnes, massive loss. I think that really boosts the stocks for Jackson Ford. I like him as a buy in around that price point. Him or Jack Williams. I think those are your sort of pods that you want to aim about that 500k. I think both of them have been great, and both of them are really good pods with low ownership. But apart from that, for the Wars, Aaron Clark just keeps getting it done, and Lukey Metcalf just keeps getting it done as well.
He's a star.
The one that just keeps turning up. That 130 on the weekend was very reminiscent of that round 4 or round 2 game when he got that 120.
Yeah. I Yeah, I'm so happy we've got him as a Wales fan. I've been huge on him for years, and it's so good to see him playing good footy and leading the side. As far as the Warriors go, they've got a horrific bye schedule. They don't cover any of the major byes, which sort of throws it off a bit more. So someone like Jackson Ford, who you could take a punt on if they played the bye rounds, and I wouldn't mind at all. But because he doesn't, when are you really going to play him? You're playing him when you've got pretty much a full strength side sort of thing. And most of us already have passed Tino, etc. Yeah, Aaron Clark's awesome, and he should cement himself as a season long keeper with if he already wasn't with Barnett in the side. Same with Fisher Harris, like he's another one that if the Warriors had good buy cover, you could have a look at it, but it makes it really hard to buy these guys, even though they're good value, just because they don't have the buy cover. But I'll throw it over to you before we go into our tips. We just touched on that. Jackson Ford, Jack Williams, Toby Couchman. You got any rankings on those three there?
One, Jack Williams, 2, Ford, but Couchman is good. Couchman is the most expensive though, isn't he?
No, they're all about 550k. Yeah. So yeah, I'll let you finish it off, mate.
Yeah, I'll stick to that order then. 1, 2, 3 like that. But again, none of them have good buy real coverage.
Well, Couchman does.
15 Couchman for the overall players, Couchman, but in the head-to-head, I really like Jack Williams. He's got upside.
Yeah. For me, it's Couchman 1, and then it would be Jack Williams 2, and then Ford 3 would be my order. But yeah, all pretty much around the same price point. I'm pretty sure they all have dual as well. But yeah, people to keep an eye on. I think Couchman is just, yeah, like he's bases the most and he's got the best buy coverage. So that's how I'd rank it. But in this game, we'll go to tips. I'm like 1 from 13 on Warriors tips. I didn't tip him again. They fucking lost to the Bunnies. Sorry, they beat the Bunnies. Yeah, they beat the Bunnies. Yeah, so I've got 1 tip out of 13 again for the Warriors. Just can't tip it. I'm gonna go Sharks this week. I'm not angry about that by any means. I just keep backing against the Warriors and they keep showing up. So either way, I can put a smile on my face. Either the Warriors win or I get a tip right. But yeah, I'm gonna go Sharks in this. In a very close game, actually, in a very low scoring game, in my opinion. It's going to be by 4 points.
Fair enough. I agree with the Sharks, but I don't think it'll be nearly as close to that. Sharks off a bye, Warriors off the losing of Barnett. I think Sharks probably run away with this a bit. I'll go 13 plus for this to the Sharkies.
13 plus.
13 plus. 13 plus.
We've been like the best defensive side in the comp, lad, this year.
Not this week. Tell you that much.
All right. Anyway.
I was always saying, are we doing a bet here? I need some better odds. I'd need better odds.
What, then 13 plus?
Yeah, like what, 10 at 9 over 10, double digits.
Double digits.
Because you said 4.
Yeah.
So 8.
I think single digits.
Over 8. Because you said 4. I said 12.
4, 13. Geez, 8's a bit fucking. That's getting a bit wary. I'm happy to lock in double digits if you are, mate. 10.
For what? The 10 pack? What did we do last time?
Yeah, 6.
The same
I'll
thing.
give you. Yeah, well, it cancels out the 10 pack you owe me if this hits.
And then I'll double down for 8. You said 4. You said 4.
I said double digit. Yeah, and you said 13. Jeez. All right, maybe we meet in the middle. Do we go 9?
Yeah, all right. Well, unless there's a field goal, yeah. All right, done. If they win by, well, that's 10 then. If they win by 10, I win. But if they win by 9 or less, Well,
Yeah.
if they win by 8, you win. 9, it's a draw.
Yeah.
We'll just do
All right.
that. There you go. You
Well, the
got your
Wires
bet.
could show up and win. Yeah. All right. We're
Done.
on.
We're
Done.
on. There you go. Comment down below, guys. Comment down below who you got in that bet. Do you have the Sharks 10 plus or the Wires by less than 8 to lose by less than 8? So yes, let us know in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I'm throwing it in the middle. And the key word, if you're listening to the potty right now, what do you want them to comment? What's the word you want them to comment? We'll have a bit of a code word.
Yeah. Well, comment cheers Lehigh. We'll go bit of a cheers Lehigh, or Lehigh Hopewade is the goat. Something along the lines of Lehigh Hopewade, as we both are owners, and he's been bloody awesome. So something to do with Lehigh Hopewade.
I like that, guys. So if you're listening, comment that down below. And if we see your comments in the next week, we'll give you an extra big shout out. How's that sound, guys, if you're listening? And then we'll actually see who actually does listen as well. But Saturday night game, we got the Broncos and the Titans. Again, this is another game I think that reeks points. What do you want to talk about here? Obviously, the one talking point for me, I think, is Walshy. He's back.
Yeah,
How good?
massive.
Got the physio tomorrow, so he'll talk me sort of through how his recovery's been and how everything's going. But yeah, massive on him. I think him and Ezra are going to be elite. I actually looked. I saw Eddie B actually brought in Ezra last week as our bit of like shout out. So I don't think he scored 2. I think he scored 40 points. I know he scored a try in
40,
real life.
Yeah, 41 with a try.
So
Close.
all right, same as Munster. So
yeah,
nothing lost. But yeah, you obviously after a bit more. But I think this is a cracker matchup, and I think with Walshy back, that combo will really excel. But apart from that, for the Bronx, that's pretty much it from a Supercoach perspective that interests me. Haas maybe could be a sell round 15 if you got the trades, but for someone like us, no. But yeah, that covers the Broncos for me, mate. Anything else for you for the Bronx?
Couldn't have said it. Yeah, couldn't have said it any better, mate. I'm in the exact same boat. No interest from the Bronx for me. And if you've held House, I would keep trying to hold him. Do whatever you can to hold him. I that's my take on it. Unless you have a gazillion trades, so I'm gonna say 22 plus trades. You can trade them out and then trade them back in. But if you don't, then I'd be looking to hold him throughout. That's all for me on the Bronx, mate.
Yeah, like it, mate. Also, I know Sol is taking any offers for trades. So if you want to sell your trades to Sol, he'll buy them up for top price. So get in,
I think you got less than me, mate. So yeah.
For the Titans, Jaden Campbell just keeps getting it done. I didn't watch this game, but I saw he scored 91 points, and I think he got a try and a try assist. I don't know what he did, but like in a rainy game, I think that's exceptional. And he's someone that is just so good against the Storm in the rain. Like, wow, take a bow, lad, sort of thing. So yeah, love him as a buy, love him as a shout, love him as a pod. And then Tino just keeps getting it done. But yeah, that's all for me for the Titans.
Yeah, I'm the exact same. I think Jaden Campbell's an awesome buy, especially given he covers a major buy. Someone that I did have a look at too was Brian Kelly. Funnily enough, he's so cheap now. He's like 425k. Plays the next game. He's got attacking upside. I don't mind it if you've got the trades to take a pod, but someone like me, I've burnt so many trades in my center wing on these pod guys like Cobo and Alamotti, and then yourself with Turbo. I don't know how many of these you can sort of do. I think I'm done with those sorts of trades. But yeah, Brian Kelly's a bit of a shout. Yeah, Tino's the main one. Nothing really else. Sean Melanie, I guess. Sam Barrows has a broken hand, so be interesting. It looks like a 4 forward bench to me as well, so he could play 80, and I assume he's priced at bottom dollar too, so it could be a downgrade to free up a lot of cash if you wanted to, and covers the first buy round. So someone to keep an eye on how he goes this week. But
he is basement price. So how long's Barrel? Broken hand, so probably a month or
broken hand. That's a while,
month or something. So yeah. Also I like your Kelly shout, but you know who I like more?
Who's that?
Jesse Rayman.
Yeah, I like it too.
With Katoa back,
He's
I
just
think
good.
his BE is so from that poke in the eye the other week, he's still going to drop. I think this is when does that really low score drops out? Raymond is someone I'm really looking at. So yeah, that 6 drops out next week, and yeah, they've got a really pretty good draw home. And he's 200k already down on his price. He's going to drop what another 50k this week. He's going to be 380, 370k next week. So
Yeah, that's
that's
awesome.
another podge sort of shout for you pod hunters out there. But yeah, good pickup on the hooker. And yeah, for this, the Broncos have to win this, and I think they do, but it might not be as easy as they want. I'll have Bronx by 10.
Jeez. I'll be cheering the Titans home as I have done in Broncos games, sort of going for the other team because that club is just a joke. Um, yeah, they've got no heart. Yet again, we see it on the weekend.
Yeah, so shocking
They
though,
just
eh?
don't. Yeah, they do not play for each other. They've got no grit at all. I feel sorry for Payne Haas and Carrigan who are in there every week, but yeah, they're just for a club as prestigious as the Broncos, they've just been so disappointing. And how long can we sack Seabold, sack Kevy, sack Blame Maguire before you start
Bennett,
having a look at
all
the
of them.
playing group? Yeah,
Mm.
you got to have a look at the playing group. Honestly, the talent's there. We've seen them go to a grand final. What's going on? Like, there's something not right here with the culture of the club. And yeah, well, yeah, it's just interesting to see. I'm gonna back the I'm be cheering on the Titans, but I think you'd want to hope, you'd want to think that the Broncos win. So I'm going to tip the Broncos by, I'm going to say by 6.
I think with Walshy coming back, I think the Broncos will lift. But yeah, I agree. They've lost 6 of their last 7 games. So I agree. Like, how many small coaches can you sack before you kind of look in the 4 walls and look in the players? But moving on to our Sunday games, we got the Raiders and the Bunnies. Bit of a change for the Raiders. We see Papali and Tarpany both starting props with Horse moving to lock. So, what do you think that means minutes wise?
Well, I think it does mean only positive things for Horse. Um, I I mean I think he's a sell anyway with the lack of cover and then the other options around his price as well that I'd prefer. But yeah, like you could definitely hold and get away with it. So I think him playing lock means positive things for the minutes, but we've seen the Vicky Roulette before. Tarpany, for example, played 42 minutes as probably the form runner of the comp. Played 42 minutes last week, got a try, and only scored 59. So, maybe that's like back-to-back sub 60 scores for someone like Tarpany. Maybe this week he gets big minutes and tons up. I know you as an owner, that's what you're probably hoping for. But
Well, it's funny actually. He's not a reserve for me this weekend. My depth is too good.
really,
I prefer to play Tamale over Tarpany. I think Tamale is just so good this year. The
mm,
options kind of between Garrick, Tamale, or Tarpany, and to drop
yeah,
out.
I think you
And
chase the upside.
I think
I think you
Tarpany is
chase
the
the
one
upside there.
going. But I think this is a great matchup. Sunday game. Tamale is going to cross. He's going to score. He could ton up this weekend. He scored 90. He's turned up pretty much on the weekend in base. Like, didn't score a try. Didn't do anything. Like, he's just so good.
It's got the
So
try assist and the line
yeah,
break
but
assist.
no try for a winger on
Yeah,
debut. Like, I think he's a season keeper. He's just exceptional, and the Hosking as well. Like, 54 points. Like, I'm gonna hold through till round 19 and then upgrade afterwards to a season keeper, which is my plan. But yeah, like 54 points, you take it. But it wasn't just an ideal game, sort of that game for the Raiders. But that's all I've got to touch on for the Raiders. And then for the Bunnies, Colo, I would still get him in. Like, he's about
yeah.
700k, but still worth every penny of it. And even if he does make Origin, doesn't matter. If he's playing in the middle, he is a must-have, as I have been saying for a couple of weeks now. And I think most of the people who jumped on will be very happy they jumped on. But yeah, Latrell Mitchell, another shout out. Big on him last week. Obviously, own him in drafts. He's kind of my boy. Me and Trell got a couple of pickies with the man. but he turned up. He does it so good, and someone with turbo like myself. Obviously, Trell plays Origin as well, but yeah, I can't waste any more trades. But if I have more trades, I think Trell's bottomed out nicely, but would have to be for the head-to-head players in here. But that covers this game for me, mate.
Yeah, I've got not too much else to add. I think both of us as Hosking owners, some earlier than others. With Fogarty coming back in the side, hopefully that means like a better scoring output for Hosking, as we did see like the first week when I first got him in starting edge, he got 77. So hopefully that bodes well for him. Also, just another thing to touch on is that the Raiders milestones are, but they've got a lot of milestones this weekend. It's a big milestone game. Players all around hitting, game milestones or whatever. So I expect them to come out and absolutely blitz
Sunday
the Bunnies.
Arvo as well. Day game, you beauty.
Yeah. So if you had Tamale, definitely play him.
Captain? Tamale captain says who? Why not?
Maybe, lad.
I might just have to do it. I might just have to do it,
Yeah,
well, I actually haven't looked into captains, but yeah, I think Tamale, he'd be in my anytime try scorer bets this weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, big stark difference from taking the safe play on May. That would be last week for you, mate. And then going to Tamale this week. And for the Bunnies, pretty much the exact same things. I think Wyden and Walker back is massive inclusions for them. And it only bodes well for players like Latrell Mitchell and Alex Johnson. And Koloamatangi, we've banged on about him heaps, probably enough. Don't really need to touch on him more. Aiken was solid. I think he got like 53 points. Solid without being like terrific. Which is,
that's his base.
Neither of us bought, but that's like his floor without any attack. So you take that with the cover. Can't really ask for much more. And then Hubner, if you're someone that has held Hubner like me, yeah, he looked good again on the weekend. Got like 60 plus points. He's making more money, so he should hit over 400k. Covers the next two major buys, so I would recommend trying to do what you can to hold him through this period, because he could be a key number. Although he won't let you down, but he'll get about 40 points most likely most weeks, 40 to 50, which in a major buy round is enough.
Yeah, like it, mate. In this game for me, the Raiders at home, in the day game, Sunday Arvo, all the milestones, I think they win this, and they win this pretty well. But a few good returns from the Bunnies, and their defense just shows up. But we saw, what was the score last week? I think it was 32-18 or something, or 32-12, and then the Wires let the Bunnies really back in the game. So Bunnies are a team that can score points, but they're certainly a team that can concede points.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I think in terms of playing styles, these are two very different teams. The Raiders like to have the gritty sort of game and beat you through the middle. Although they've been really exciting this year to watch. And then the Bunnies are usually weaker on defense, but so slick with the Latrell, Cody Walker, Jack White, and Alex Johnson edge. Such good attack when they're all firing. But yeah, I'm tipping the Raiders in this one, mate. Raiders by... You know what? No, I'm going to tip the Rabbitohs in this. I'm going to go another underdog. Tip the Bunnies in this to win. With Walker and White and back, I'm going to say by 4.
There you go. Bunnies by 4. Moving on to our last game of Sunday, we got the Tigers and the Panthers. Anything you want to touch on here, mate?
No, it's the same old story for the Tigers, isn't it? Just no one really relevant apart from Terrell May, who we both got and who most people in Supercoach have. The only other person I want to touch on is Royce Hunt, who's actually been, I don't know if it's injury or what it is, but he's out. And hallelujah. Thank God. He's been a nightmare. I'm actually cheering that he's not playing this week. So it's a good week for him to not be playing because my side's quite thin this week, which we'll get to later. But nothing really from the Tigers staff. Atoa and Buller were awesome on the weekend, but nothing really Supercoach relevant. And then Jarrell Skelton, we know he's got the base, but I just don't think the Tigers score enough points on their left wing to warrant him as a trade-in. Heath Mason was good as well, but yeah, nothing really more there. And then for the Panthers, Obviously, bought an Alamotti last 2 weeks ago, and I've sold him. I'm very happy that he's not named in the 17 this week. Otherwise, it would have been filthy because I was between him and Jenkins, who I sold. Jenkins played quite well actually on the weekend, so looks like he'll hold the spot, but he's definitely on the chopping block for me regardless. Um, Other than that, nothing really to touch on Supercoach wise for the Panthers. I think Cleary is the big glaring captaincy option this week for people. And then my shout, who I actually had a big look at, is Brian To'o. I think he has a big ton this week incoming. I've taken too many risks on these centre wing guys, but geez, like I really would like him in. I think he gets like 2 or 3 tries this weekend up against Skelton especially.
Yeah, I like the To'o shout. He is a gun. He's about 660k. I did have a bit of a look around him, but just with Origin, he'd be someone you have to get sort of after the buys. But yeah, agree with that. The only other watch for me for the Tigers is we see Leitu Fainu coming in on the 14. So he's just working his way back from the broken thumb and then the hammy injuries he's been overcoming this year. But yeah, bit of a watch, especially in the 5'8" slot for someone like me. So yeah, in this game, geez, Tigers. Tigers by 4 and Lawai to have a man of the match performance.
Jeez, I'll hold you to that, mate. There's no way you're tipping Tigers in this. Surely not. Definitely Panthers in this one. I'm going to go Panthers by 8.
Do you reckon?
Probably more.
Aren't the
Yeah.
Tigers above them?
Yeah, they are, man. The Tigers just, I don't know. Like
The way
I do
we
not.
fought, I honestly, the bullshit that was happening in that first half of that game with the 2 sin bins, and for the Tigers to be 32-6 down and to come back to 32-28, I think it shows incredible heart, and I think they're going to be up for this game, and Lawai is going to be up for this. So Lawai, Taruva, Appy, you got all the boys, like your key boys will be journeying the energy. So yeah, I'm actually pretty keen on the Tigs this week, mate.
Fair enough. They're 13 and 14th on the ladder, so it's a pretty big game in the scheme of things.
There you
Like
go.
to make top 8.
Well, yeah, if the Panthers want to make a run, they have to start getting a move on now, especially with all their Origin stars missing coming up. But our final game of the week, we have the Monday game, 4 p.m. So yeah, shout out to you on Monday at 4 o'clock, watching the footy on your phone at work. We have the Dogs and the Eels. Obviously, the main talking point here I want to talk about is Karaz coming back 2 weeks early, 3 weeks early. He
Yeah,
missed
just
one game.
Gould feeding us more lies, isn't he?
Ridiculous. I think how many games he missed? 1 or 2 games. He missed bugger all.
2,
Yeah.
2 games, yeah, I think.
They had the bye anyway. Like I think he's only missed
They had the
game.
bye. Let's have a look. Actually, I'll pull it up now.
You have a look into it, but honestly can't believe that he is a gun. I absolutely love the bloke, and yeah, for him to be back already is a bit annoying as someone who sold a couple
Jeez,
weeks
mate,
ago.
he missed round 12 and that's it.
Yeah,
Round
one
12.
game.
So he played round 11, missed round 12, which is a bye round, and then he had a bye round 13. Now he's back.
Missed one game. Oh no, they had that. Very annoying. Very annoying.
Yeah,
Like
that's annoying.
that's a bit of a joke, really, isn't it? Gus Gould. Obviously the Snakes are number 23 for the Dogs. Fuck the cut. Oh no. But he's a cocky kid. I don't know if you've seen the interview of him at the Dogs. Like, oh god. We'll see how he goes. I honestly don't know how it works out for the Dogs. They've got a great playing group that's doing very well. They're top of the table. And for them to drop like a Burden or a Sexton or a Tracy or whatever they're going to do, could have many follow-on effects to the team. You go Berto to center, Crito, you drop Zeri then, like, just don't know what's going to happen. And then for the Eels, their only talking point, Jackie Williams, as we sort of mentioned earlier on, and Zach Lomax is a bloke, love as a buy, but with Origin, he scored about 62 last week in base. His base is just so good. So you know exactly what you're getting when you're buying. And the Eels look good. So I think they'll push the Dogs for this, but geez, you know what? This could be another upset, you know.
It could be. I'm on the Dogs though.
Dogs at home though, with the public holiday, the Dogs fans will be out in the masses, the degenerates. So they'll probably win. So yeah, not really much to touch on Supercoach wise in this. So yeah, I'm gonna go. Geez, just because of all the degenerates there, I'll go the Doggies by 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Doggies by 8. Just want to put my little spin on it as well. I've got I think Josh Curran. Obviously, Preston is due back next week. Josh Curran, we saw him play on the edge 2 weeks ago before their bye, and he got 80 in base. So if you wanted to take a bit of a punt, maybe you could. Yeah, with all their outs, like Satili's still out, etc., their middle looks quite weak. So Josh Curran over this bye period could be a decent option. He's got Jewel as well. Karaz, with a bit filthy, but he's awesome. Buy him whenever you want. I probably would want to wait a week just to see how he comes back from injury because he's had a few niggles this year. And then Burden, my boy, who I've got, and will be playing this week with confidence. Hopefully he doesn't give me an injury scare like he has the 2 other games that I've owned him for. And he can go well. What I would love to see is Galvin come in to the 6, Burden go to fullback and play fullback rest of the year. That would make my day. That'd make my year. I'd be happy. I could die
I think
happy
you're dreaming,
Supercoach.
mate. I think you're dreaming.
No, like that's. I think it's a good option. To be honest, Tracy sucks in my opinion. He's so shit. Like he just makes way too many errors and offers nothing in attack.
Sexton.
Yeah, it'd be one of Sexton or Tracy. I don't think you can touch your 7 though. Is my take on it. And Burden and
Jerry Birdo to centre, then Crido Birdo centres.
And Birdo's a 6 for sure, and Burden and Galvin are both 6s.
We just said Birdo's a 1.
Yeah.
Which one is it? You're confusing us now. The listeners like, 1 minute you're saying Birdo's 1, now
he's everything. He's one of the best players. I reckon he'll be a good fullback.
He's a hooker.
Got everything.
He'll be playing hooker for Reed Marnie.
I'm just hoping he has a big game. Buying for 500k. For the Eels, Moses really isn't an option. Obviously, Riley Smith's been great for those that bought, including myself. And most will probably have to play this week with Sandon out. Nothing really else to touch on other than that. Penasini is someone that falls into that Ramian category. He went off the other week with a injury, and now he's really bottoming out. I don't know how much he costs, but he's someone that's got quite good base and that you could play. Gonna have a look how much he is actually. Geez, he's 389k. Penasini.
What's his BE?
57.
Pretty close to bottoming out.
Yeah, so like he's someone as well that falls into that mold. And that's with a 1 in his rolling.
Yeah, so you got 2 more weeks.
You probably pick him up.
The 71 drops out, so he could be 300k couple of weeks. That's a great shout. Him at 300k, great buy. Love it.
Yeah. I guess the only other thing to touch on, Dylan Brown's been disappointing for anyone that has him. Really gives you a headache every week if you sit or start him. I think with a TA last week, he only just nudged 50.
I think he got 68 or something, didn't he?
60, did he? Well, anyway, that's nothing, not breaking, headlines or anything like that.
It's just Dylan Brown every week, mate. He gets 60 points.
Well, he got 20 the week before. 68, yeah, you're right. 585k now. Yeah, I don't mind it, but no buy cover this year, unfortunately, for the Kiwi. Last question would be Yongi. If you held him all this time, what are you doing? Like, I guess it depends what fullbacks you have, but would you be able to ship on?
Yeah. If you don't have Tedesco, you easily hold him another week, and then you can move on next week to Tedesco. But I'm assuming, let's say if you got, like everyone else, you've got Tedesco and Drinky or Pap. You'd be missing one of those. And
well, Pap's the most owned, and then it goes Drinky and then Tedesco.
Well, yeah, if you don't have Teddy, I'd play Ongi and then go to Teddy next week. But if you don't have one of those other boys, I think you can easily make the jump now. It's just whenever works best for you to upgrade. If it takes 3 trades, do it next week. If you can do it in 2 this week, do it now.
Fair enough, mate. I guess that sort of wraps up. I've got the dogs in this. Don't know if I said that before, but yeah, I'm gonna say, I can't remember what I said, 6 or 8, something.
Like it, mate. I got the doggies as well. Now for our trades and skippers for the week. No trades, mate. No trades for either of us. In a special, in a podcast first, the Hooked On NRL Supercoach. Both podcasters are not trading this week. So easy as you like for me. We'll click optimize. Bang, bang, bang. Here we go. So this is now, obviously, the benching headaches is becoming an issue. So as I sort of mentioned in the potty, I want to play Tamale. I want to play Garrick. I'm obviously playing Herbie, Lucas, Iro, Hopawade. Vice captain is on Hopper. Want to play Tamale. I want to play Garrick. Want to play Cleary. And I want to play AFB. So it means I'm dropping Tarpany, which is a big loss. And I would much prefer play a Tarpany over a Hosking, for example. But that would require a trade. But a very easy trade I could do is Geimer down to Lawson. That flicks Lucas up. That means I could bench Hosking and then bring in Garrick and Tamale and then play Tarpany and Tamale and Garrick. But I won't be doing, well, maybe that's the only trade I'm considering really this week. Apart from that, no other trades. And then, yeah, vice captain will be on Hopawate. And then captain for this week is... We'll go Tamale, hey? We'll take the piss a little bit. So we'll go for Tamale for now. We don't know how that ends up, but we'll go Tamale for now. I like Payne Haas, actually. Broncos against Titans at home. If I'm going to play the safe bet, we'll kind of see how the weekend goes. Hopefully Lehigh goes ballistic and won't have to worry.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. Yeah, like the side, I think it's really scat though not playing Tarpany. I think as much as you've been glazing Tamale lately, I think you got to play Tarpany over Tamale, surely. But can't hate it. As far as the trade, I just don't think the trade's worth it that you're talking about. Bringing Lucas up, especially on the amount of trades you have with 16 left. I would just sit Tamale personally, but and play Tarpany.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But the only other thing is then, what am I going to do with Geimer? At least this is a bit of a get out clause. I don't like the trade. Like, I've also tinkered of the White sell, but I'm in for the Naff White hold for the long haul here. I've kind of held him from round 1 and he's still with us now. So I think he's back next week and the Roosters have a pretty good buy schedule. If I did do the trade, my team would then look like this, which looks so much better. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's one to ponder, but
it does. But realistically, it's just Tarpany.
Hosking or Tamale.
It's Hosking versus Tamale. Like, how much are you going to really lose? Like, what, max 50 points maybe? Like, it's just not worth the trade for 1 week. I don't think.
Mate.
Yeah.
Agree. So that is why I won't be trading this week. But yeah, that is someone I'll be looking to get in next week's Lawson, and I'll be looking to sell. Geez, depending on how Hosking, if Naff White isn't named, he's gone. But yeah, that's me for this week. The side's looking pretty solid. Yeah, obviously benching headaches because the side's just that strong. Like I'm really happy with my center wing and the front row forwards. Ideally, if I could just flick Hosking, Lucas up for Hosking, I'm very happy with the team now, and it's just got to sort out that turbo issue. And yeah, happy with the side. Happy to hold trades this week. Let's bring on the week. What are we projected? A 1468. So yeah, hopefully we can score around there. That's my thoughts for the week, mate. If you want to go to yours.
Yeah. I'll share my screen quickly. Cool, you see that all good? Yeah, no, I think your team looks good holding trades. I'll just play Tarpany over Tamale. And for me, captain hasn't been a no-brainer, but I'll get to that in my side. So as you can see here, I'm holding trades as well. Got 17 there with just under 90k in the bank. Haven't really toyed with playing with trading. I think it's a good week to hold trades. I am going to say though my side doesn't look as strong as probably yours this week, so I'm probably due for some red arrows after barely seeing any all year. But it still does look strong enough to me. And I guess the big positive for me is that Royce Hunt's out. I've got Sandon Smith on the bye, Hubner, Simpkins, who's enough, Toya, Billy Smith, Teddy, all on the bye. So it gives me a bit of a free shot at the loop. All I would have to do, Riley Smith's in the last game, is switch Sandon in and captain Sandon. And then it would be between Riley Smith, Hubner, and Jenkins who will probably score about similar for my last sort of piece of the puzzle, which I'm very keen for. Hopefully, and my captaincy is very locked on Pappenhausen and Cleary. It's been. I can't see that changing. I think Lehigh's a great. What's that?
I'm not. BC... I thought we were off the Storm in the rain at home.
I'm not. I'm big on it. I tipped them by 18, mate. 16, something like that. I'm huge on them.
I reckon Lehigh's the better player there, surely.
Yeah, he could be, but I just don't think he has a ceiling. Pappenhausen's gone at 182. I'm not looping anything with Cleary playing the Tigers, who are dreadful. This week, I wouldn't loop anything under 130, and Pappenhausen has the ability.
That is absurd.
What?
Not looping anything under 130 when you have an easy loop. Surely you just lock in the 90 points or 80 points even. That is absurd, mate. What are you been smoking, brother?
Nah, I'm so big on obviously I'm rolling it back a bit with I VC Pap and C Cleary last week. Cleary got 87. I was watching him closely, and he did nothing. He got a try. He didn't get a try or a try assist or an line break assist. Nothing like that. If the Panthers click the switch, which they could against the Tigers, and put a score on, he's gone huge. There's no what I don't like. Maybe I'm rating the Panthers a bit too high based on what they produce and not giving enough respect to the Tigers. Obviously, you've got them as a win, which is why you're not keen to captain. But I couldn't be bigger on these two as my captaincies. Maybe I was over-exaggerating with the loop. Probably, I'll say 120. 120, I'll loop it.
140?
120.
150.
That's it. But that's aside. It's even though it's not as strong at its strongest, I'm keen to play this side. There's no real bad plays there. Hosking's one that I'm not too keen on playing, but he's not going to really let me down. Everyone's in sort of same boat with a bit of a mid hooker, and hopefully Sharp and Lucas can bounce back, tipping the Knights, and then Burden, hopefully, as my big pod, he's 4% owned, has a big game, and Olukwatu and Eli Katoa are two others that I probably need to have big games. So it looks all right there. Obviously, I guess the last thing is Toya, 610k, got Jenkins there, and then I've got Hosking. All three of those guys on the chopping block. I just want to see how next week plays out, though, with Toya, if he gets named again in Origin 2. I personally don't think he will. Oh, sorry. Taulungi's not named, so he probably will. But I just want to see it first. If he's named, he's a definite sell for me next week. Same with probably Jenkins. Jenkins down to Lawson, for example, frees up 300k. I've already got 388k. And then I could easily get Toya and Hosking both to anyone I want. Herbie. I could get Herbie and KO Hero in next week by shifting Lucas down, for example. Herbie, KO Hero, and Lawson in for Jenkins, Toya, and Hosking, if I wanted to. But I just want to see how the side plays out. AFB is also in there instead of Hero. Could go that way, but I'll let it sit on hands this week because I need to save trades. And 17 running a bit low, so might not even trade next week because I also have 14 players for next week by the looks. I think depending on obviously a few people like Toya, Burden could be 18th man very easily. Olukwatu, Kalomatangi, Tedesco. Maybe they all play and fuck me over. You never know.
You never know. But that's what next week's potty is for.
Yeah.
I think that wraps us up well. Thanks for listening, guys. Another potty, episode 18 of the Hooked on NRL Supercoach podcast. Don't forget to like, comment, let us know your thoughts down below. Remember the keyword. We won't say it now. You'll have to remember where we said it in that video. And yeah, let us know with the keyword down below. But yeah, anything else you want to touch on before we wrap up this week, mate?
No, that's all for me, mate. Yeah, that's all. I'm taking over the editing now. Thanks for doing that all year round, sort of, since we've kicked off the potty. But from this week onwards, if you notice any bugs or glitching, it's because of my poor editing skills. So we'll see. So we'll see.
So
how
if
this
you're
one
not happy
goes.
with the intro music, don't go blaming me anymore, fellas.
Yeah.
That big fella was not happy with the intro music that time. So, but
Yeah, so I was thinking
you'll still see the same. It should all be very, very similar.
Yeah, I was toying with potentially changing it up a bit. Doing a bit of a, instead of a Tina Turner intro, bit of a Sean Johnson, Johnson Stew. No, I don't
He's
know.
getting into it. We'll let the man cook. So let us know any
Yeah, let the
thoughts or
man cook
comments,
up shit.
suggestions, any
Yeah.
suggestions then in the comments down below. But yes, that's another great episode, mate. Thanks for joining me. And then yes, we'll do it all again next week.
Easy. Thanks, mate. And thanks everyone for listening. Keen to see you all next week and best of luck for the round.
That's it. Thanks, mate.
Cheers.